Usually when we talk about cleaning something, we naturally match the tool to the job.
Right, yeah, it's just common sense.
Exactly. I mean, if you were trying to wash a really delicate, like a vintage silk jumper, you wouldn't drag it out to the driveway and blast it with a high-pressure power washer.
Oh, absolutely not. You'd completely shred the fibers.
Right. You wouldn't use like an industrial engine degreaser on it.
No, the garment would
Yeah.
be ruined in seconds. You would use something incredibly mild, maybe just cold water, honestly.
Because you have to respect the physical reality of the material you're working with, right?
Yeah, you have to work with the material, not against it.
But then you step into the personal care aisle of any pharmacy and you look at the multi-million-dollar feminine hygiene industry.
Oh, boy.
And suddenly all of that basic material logic just vanishes. I mean, we are sold these intimate wash products and they're wrapped in, soft pink packaging.
Right, covered in watercolor flowers and all that.
Yeah, promising this gentle, fresh, balancing clean for literally the most delicate skin on the human body. But chemically speaking, we are frequently taking that industrial engine degreaser straight to the silk jumper.
It's so true.
Yep.
It is the absolute definition of a marketing illusion that's masking a really harsh chemical reality.
It's wild.
And, the gap between what the advertising says these products do and what the chemistry actually does to human tissue, it's staggering.
Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. We are thrilled to have you with us today because our mission here is to cut straight through that marketing noise.
We have a massive stack of sources in front of us today, too.
We really do. We're looking at strict clinical medical guidelines from the NHS, the Cleveland Clinic, and some pretty comprehensive dermatological safety profiles.
Yeah, and some intensely dense chemical research on stratum corneum lipids, which we'll get into.
Right. And we are specifically zeroing in on one very specific, often overlooked part of this equation, the literal chemistry of the surfactants inside commercial intimate washes.
Because we aren't just looking at what they are on a label. We're looking at how they physically alter your biology.
Exactly. We're going to uncover how these chemicals mechanically interact with your skin barrier and why the, gentle plant-based alternatives that everyone reaches for, why they hide a very surprising secret.
A really big secret, yeah.
And we'll get into why medical professionals universally agree on a radically different approach to intimate care. Okay, let's unpack this.
I'm ready.
Before we get into why intimate washes are so problematic for this specific part of the body, I think we really need to understand what makes a wash in the first place. Like, chemically, what is happening when we lather up?
Well, when you're washing anything, your goal is generally to remove dirt, sweat, and oils. But we all know the old saying, water and oil famously do not mix.
Right. If you pour water on an oily surface, it just beads up and rolls off.
Exactly. So to get water to actually wash away oil, you need a chemical mediator. And that is what a surfactant is. The word itself is actually, it's a mashup of the phrase surface active agent.
Oh, I didn't know that. So they act like a bridge between the water and the oil.
Precisely. They are unique molecules because one end loves water and the other end loves oil.
Huh.
So when you introduce the surfactant, it breaks the surface tension of the water, grabs onto the oils and dirt on your skin, and essentially wraps them up in a little microscopic package.
So they can all be rinsed down the drain together.
Exactly.
Which sounds incredibly efficient, honestly, until you stop and realize that your skin's natural primary protective barrier is made of oils, right? Lipids, specifically.
That is the crux of the entire problem. The outermost layer of your skin is called the stratum corneum, and it is absolutely essential for sustaining life.
Wow, sustaining life.
Yeah, it has two main jobs. It stops the water inside your body from evaporating out, and it stops external chemicals, allergens, and pathogens from getting in.
Right, it's the wall.
And it relies on a very specific, highly organized matrix of natural lipids to do this.
So if I'm visualizing this, it's not just like a random slick of oil on our skin. It's a structured thing.
Very organized. Think of the stratum corneum like a finely woven microscopic net made of these lipids.
Okay.
It's flexible, it's strong, and it carefully controls moisture.
And then we introduce a chemical designed specifically to dismantle and wash away lipids.
Right. It's a fundamental clash. Let's look at the heavy hitters in the surfactant world. These are the anionic surfactants, meaning they carry a negative charge.
Anionic.
If you've ever looked at a shampoo or body wash bottle, you've seen them. Sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS, and sodium dodecyl sulfate, SDS.
Oh yeah, they are practically unavoidable in modern cosmetics.
They really are.
But Our sources point out something genuinely mind-blowing about how scientists actually view these specific sulfates.
Oh, this part is crazy.
Right, like when researchers are in a lab doing allergy patch testing on human skin to see if a new product is safe, how do they actually use SLS?
They literally use it as the irritant control standard.
Wait, meaning they use it specifically to cause damage?
Yes, exactly. When they need a reliable baseline example of what irritated, damaged human skin looks like in a clinical trial, they apply SLS.
That is wild.
It is so notoriously, predictably harsh that it is the gold standard in science for inducing skin irritation.
And we are paying for the chemical that scientists use to purposely ruin skin in a lab.
Yeah, it's a bit backwards.
So what is the actual mechanism there? Like, what is that negative charge doing to our skin's lipid net?
Well, we actually know the precise mechanics of this now, thanks to some fascinating X-ray diffraction studies on model epidermal lipids.
X-ray diffraction.
Yeah, researchers essentially recreated the stratum corneum lipids in a lab setting and then hit them with X-rays.
Okay, why X-rays?
Because X-rays can measure the exact distances between molecules.
Yeah.
So they could literally watch the structural changes happen at a microscopic level when different surfactants were introduced.
Oh, wow. And what happens when they introduce an anionic surfactant like SDS?
The researchers found that anionic surfactants actually physically extract the lipids right out of the skin structure.
Wait, extract them?
Yeah, the surfactant molecules pull your natural lipids into their own separate anchored layer on the surface.
So it's literally dismantling the barrier piece by piece, just yanking the bricks out of the wall.
Exactly. And here's the really destructive part. This extraction prevents normal water penetration between the natural lipids.
Because the structure is gone.
Right. By pulling the lipids out of alignment, the surfactant fundamentally alters the skin's moisture mechanics. It blocks water from properly hydrating the deeper layers of the skin structure.
Oh, so you aren't just drying the skin out in the moment.
No, you are breaking the skin's ability to hold moisture in the future.
Okay, so if SLS and these anionic surfactants are that notoriously harsh, surely the companies making intimate washes aren't using them anymore, right? I mean, consumers are pretty savvy these days.
You think so?
Yeah, you walk down that aisle and every pink bottle screams sulfate-free or, formulated for sensitive skin.
Right, right.
So if they aren't using sulfates, what on earth did they replace them with to get the products to wash?
What's fascinating here is, well, how the industry masterfully pivoted to ingredients that sound incredibly natural and gentle, but carry their own entirely different set of hidden risks.
Of course they do.
Yeah. The prime example of this, and you will find this in almost every sensitive wash on the market, is a chemical called cocamidopropylbutane.
That's a mouthful.
It is. Most people just refer to it by its acronym, CAPB.
Oh, I see that on labels all the time. It's almost always pitched as a coconut derivative, right?
Yes.
You read that and immediately picture, cracking open a fresh, natural coconut on a pristine beach.
That coconut branding is highly intentional and highly marketable, but CAPB is a synthesized industrial chemical. It belongs to a different class called amphoteric surfactants.
Amphoteric, meaning it swings both ways, chemically speaking.
Precisely. Unlike the strictly negative anionics, amphoteric surfactants carry both a positive and a negative charge simultaneously.
Oh, interesting.
And their behavior actually changes depending on the pH of the environment they are placed in.
Wait, really?
Yeah. In an acidic environment, CAPB acts like a positively charged surfactant. But in an alkaline environment, it flips and acts like a negatively charged one.
That is bizarre. And cosmetic companies absolutely love this stuff, especially for intimate washes.
They do.
The sources note they use it at lower concentrations, usually under 3%, because it helps maintain a balanced pH. But crucially, CAPB is what creates that incredibly thick, creamy, luxurious lather.
Yes, the lather.
It's a foam stabilizer because, let's be honest, as consumers, we've been completely conditioned to believe that if a product doesn't foam up like crazy, it's not actually cleaning us.
Right. It vastly enhances the sensory user experience while being supposedly much milder than the harsh sulfates we just talked about.
Supposedly?
Exactly. But the reality of how CAPB is actually manufactured completely shatters that natural coconut image.
Yeah, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the problem isn't the coconut oil it starts with.
No, not at all.
It's the intense, multi-step chemical synthesis it has to go through in the factory to become that foam stabilizer. Like, why do they even synthesize it this way if it's supposed to be natural?
It all comes down to scale and cost. You can't just squeeze a coconut and get a lathering body wash.
Right.
To make CAPB, chemical plants take raw coconut oil fatty acids, and react them with a cocktail of synthetic chemicals, things like acrylonitrile, sodium hydroxide, and sodium monochloroacetate.
None of which sounds like a day at the beach.
No, not exactly. And the issue isn't necessarily the CAPB itself. It's that this cheap industrial process leaves behind manufacturing impurities.
Oh, trace chemicals.
Right. Specifically, it leaves behind trace amounts of two compounds, dimethylaminopropamine, which is often just shortened to DMPA,
Dimethyl.
and amidoamine, or AA.
And according to the dermatological data, those trace impurities are the real villains here. Our sources highlight that they are highly sensitizing to human tissue.
Extremely sensitized.
They are notorious for causing allergic contact dermatitis.
It is a massive industry-wide issue. In fact, CAPB was literally named Allergen of the Year in 2004 by the American Contact Dermatitis Society.
Allergen of the year.
Yeah, because these impurities were triggering so many immune responses in patients.
Allergen of the year is definitely not the award you won on your sensitive skin wash. How common is this allergy, actually?
Well, one major study in Australia looked at patients who came into clinics suspected of having allergic contact dermatitis, meaning their skin was red, inflamed, and painful.
Okay.
They found a confirmed diagnosis rate of 6%, specifically for CAPB allergy.
6%. Think about the dark irony of this for a second. You have a consumer who is experiencing dryness, itching, or irritation down there. They are uncomfortable.
Right.
So they go to the pharmacy and specifically buy a premium, expensive, intimate wash heavily marketed for sensitive, easily irritated skin.
Yep.
Completely unaware that the foaming agent inside the allergen of the year might be actively causing the exact contact dermatitis they are desperately trying to soothe.
It's a terrible, vicious cycle. The patient thinks they have an infection or poor hygiene, so they wash more.
Which just introduces more of the allergen.
Exactly, worsening the dermatitis. And this brings us to a really crucial point about how different chemicals physically alter the barrier. Because we've covered the anionic lipid strippers and the amphoteric hidden allergens.
Right.
But what happens if a chemical doesn't pull the lipids out?
Well, earlier we talked about that general rule of thumb for surfactant irritancy that the researchers note.
Yes, the hierarchy.
It goes, cationic surfactants, the positively charged ones, are the most irritating of all, then anionic, and finally non-ionic, which carry no charge and are the least irritating.
Right.
Let's look at those highly irritating cationic ones. If they aren't pulling the lipids out like the sulfates do, what are they doing?
Let's go back to those X-ray diffraction lab studies on the skin barrier.
Okay.
The cationic surfactants behave entirely differently. When they come into contact with the stratum corneum, they don't extract the lipids into an anchored layer.
So they leave the lipid net intact.
Well, they leave the pieces there, but they completely destroy its structural integrity.
How so?
Because of the specific chemical charges, water molecules are drawn in to solvate or interact with both the surfactant and the skin lipids at the exact same time.
Okay, I'm following.
This interaction dramatically weakens the attractive forces that normally keep your lipid chains tightly packed together.
Oh, I see. So instead of removing the barrier, it's forcing the barrier to expand, like a sponge that has absorbed way too much water and just starts to fall apart.
That's a great way to picture it. It forces the lipids to separate, which allows massive, completely unnatural water penetration right into the deep lipid layers.
Oh,
Yeah, the X-rays show it completely distorts the spacing of the protective barrier. It essentially bloats the skin barrier until it's structurally compromised.
Wow. Okay, so sulfates pull the barrier apart and cationics bloat it until it fails.
Exactly.
That leaves the non-ionic surfactants. The research shows these cause absolutely no comparable distortion of the lipid spacing.
Right, they don't pull the lipids out, and they don't force massive water penetration.
Chemically speaking, they are the mildest.
They are the mildest. But surfactants aren't the only variable here.
What else is there?
We also have to consider the pH of the products we use. Human skin naturally has an acid mantle.
An acid mantle, okay.
Yeah, it sits at a slightly acidic pH, which helps keep bad bacteria in check. If you wash with standard alkaline soaps, it drastically alters that pH.
And the numbers on this are wild from the sources. Like, if I just take a normal bar of alkaline soap and wash my hands, how badly does that mess up my skin's pH, and how long does it take to recover?
The clinical data shows that washing with a basic alkaline soap increases the skin's surface pH by an average of 3 entire units.
3 units?
And that elevated vulnerable pH lasts for up to 90 minutes after just one wash.
An hour and a half of compromised skin from one wash.
Exactly. And if you are washing frequently throughout the day, You cause a sustained chronic increase in the surface pH.
That sounds bad.
It completely impairs the biological barrier repair functions. The enzymes that maintain your skin literally cannot function at that higher pH.
Oh, wow.
It is a known trigger that can initiate and aggravate severe eczema.
Okay, so this leads me to a really logical question for you.
Lay it on me.
If we know, based on all this chemistry, that non-ionic surfactants are the mildest and don't distort the lipids,
Right.
and we have the modern cosmetic chemistry to make cleansers perfectly acidic to match the skin's pH,
We do.
then why do dermatologists and specialized clinics still tell people to avoid intimate washes altogether? Like, why not just formulate a perfectly pH-balanced, non-ionic wash, sell it, and call it a day?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to realize that skin inflammation is an incredibly complex, multi-layered mechanism.
Okay.
It is not just about measurable redness, what dermatologists call erythema.
Right, it's not just a binary, is the skin red or not visual test.
Far from it. Inflammation also involves the perceived drying of the skin, how tight or itchy it feels to the
Oh,
patient.
that makes sense.
Furthermore, when you introduce a foaming wash to that specific anatomical area, even with the mildest non-ionic surfactant, you are risking the removal of the vulva's natural protective bacteria.
Right.
The microbiome there is exquisite, but it's incredibly delicate.
And anatomically, the skin there is just entirely different than the skin on your arm or your leg.
Radically different.
Yeah.
The medical guidelines point out that genital skin simply have far less of a natural barrier function than the rest of the body.
It's just thinner.
Inherently more permeable, it absorbs chemicals faster, and it is vastly more liable to irritation, even from products that are technically formulated in a lab to be low allergy.
So we move from that it needs to smell like a tropical breeze or a field of lavender,
Yeah.
that it needs to be scrupulously cleaned with thick, luxurious lathers.
Which is just not true.
But human biology says something completely different.
Biology says the vagina, which is the internal canal, is entirely self-cleaning. It meticulously regulates its own flora and its own pH. You should never put a cleanser inside.
Ever.
And the external skin only needs a daily, gentle rinse, nothing more.
And yet, look at the hidden irritants that clinics like the NHS and the Cleveland Clinic actively warn against.
It's surprising.
We aren't just talking about harsh synthetic soaps anymore. We're talking about things heavily marketed as soothing and natural.
Right.
Tea tree oil, aloe vera. The sources note aloe is highly sensitizing to some women. Essential oils like lavender.
People naturally assume botanical means safe.
Yeah.
But applying highly concentrated essential oils to tissue with such a low barrier of function can cause severe vulvitis.
Which is what, exactly?
It's profound inflammation, contact dermatitis, and it can even cause incredibly painful micro tears in the skin.
Ouch. We also have to talk about wet wipes. Adult wipes, baby wipes, feminine wipes.
Oh, low wipes.
They have exploded in popularity, heavily marketed for on-the-go freshness. But the medical consensus in our sources is a hard, unequivocal no.
They are highly discouraged by dermatologists.
Why is that?
Wet wipes are saturated with a liquid solution of alcohols, preservatives, and other chemicals that don't get rinsed away. They just linger on the skin.
Right, because you don't wash them off.
Exactly. So they break down the barrier and can cause severe cracking and fissuring. And if you want a shocking piece of context, one of the major industry-sponsored safety studies on the long-term effects of wet wipes lasted a grand total of 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yep.
For a product they expect people to use intimately every single day for years on end, that is terrifying.
It really is.
Okay, so what is the actual medical solution here? If we ditch the foam, if we throw away the wipes, what do the medical pros say to actually do? Because people still want to feel clean.
The medical consensus is the total avoidance of surfactants for this specific area. Full stop.
Wow.
The NHS explicitly recommends washing the vulval area only once a day. And you should only use your bare hands.
No washcloths.
No washcloths, no flannels, no loofahs. Those materials cause microscopic abrasions that invite infection.
Right, so physical friction is just as much the enemy as chemical stripping.
Absolutely. Now, if using water alone makes the skin feel too dry, or if a patient is dealing with a condition, the medical guidelines recommend substituting soap entirely with an emollient.
And an emollient is basically just a plain, completely unfragranced moisturizer, right?
Right.
Things like aqueous cream, dermal, or even just plain Vaseline. But wait, if we go back to the beginning of this deep dive, we said water and oil don't mix.
It,
So how does rubbing a moisturizer on yourself in the shower actually clean away dirt and sweat without a surfactant?
it works on the chemical principle of like dissolves like.
Okay, what is that?
The oils within the emollient basically grab onto the excess natural oils and the daily dirt on your skin. They mix together, and then you gently wipe them away with water, leaving a thin protective layer of the emollient behind.
Oh, so it lifts away the dirt while actively reinforcing the barrier simultaneously?
Exactly.
But they don't lather at all.
They absolutely do not lather, and that is the massive psychological hurdle for the modern consumer.
Hmm.
We have to actively unlearn the marketing lie that foam equals clean.
Which brings me right back to my silk jumper analogy. When you are dealing with incredibly delicate fibers, you don't use biological detergents packed with aggressive enzymes and foaming agents.
No, you don't.
You use something gentle, something protective. The vulva is external, yes, but it is incredibly delicate tissue.
It is. And this raises an important question really about our entire societal approach to personal care.
Yeah,
Like how much of our daily hygiene routine is driven by actual biological, physiological need, and how much is driven by purely aesthetic manufactured desires.
that's a great point.
Desires created by marketers who are trying to sell us expensive solutions to problems we don't actually have.
That is the million-dollar question. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Let's distill this deep dive down.
Ultimately, it comes down to respecting the physical barrier. Surfactants, by their very chemical nature, disrupt.
They break things down.
Exactly. Whether you are using a harsh, lipid-stripping anionic surfactant like SLS, or falling for the marketing trap of a coconut-derived amphoteric like CAPB that carries hidden, sensitizing allergens, you are fundamentally disrupting the delicate chemical and physical matrix of the stratum corneum.
The X-rays don't lie.
No, they don't.
You're either extracting the lipid netting right out of the skin or you're forcing water in to bloat the structure until it fails.
Right.
And the medical consensus from top institutions like the NHS and the Cleveland Clinic couldn't be clearer. Ditch the foam.
Walk away from the marketing trap of intimate washes entirely.
Stick to plain water or protect the skin with simple, unfragranced emollients.
It's about prioritizing biological function over a manufactured sense of freshness.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you look at the bottles lining your shower shelf tonight.
Okay.
If a product as ubiquitous and supposedly gentle as an intimate wash relies on chemicals that dermatologists actively use in clinical labs to induce irritation,
Yeah, that irritant standard.
right. What other heavily marketed daily hygiene products in our bathrooms are quietly dismantling our body's natural defenses right now?
It definitely makes you want to read those ingredient labels a little closer, doesn't it?
It sure does. Remember, treat that skin like your absolute favorite vintage silk. Step away from the industrial degreaser. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.